Hi everybody. Just wanted to do a quick video. I've got a plate of food waiting for me, so it will not be a super long video. It does not look the most appetizing. It's barbecue sauce, cottage cheese, and a chicken fillet from the Real Good Company that I showed in the last video. I think it was, or one of the last videos when I was like showing off my food choices and stuff, whatever. And it's really, really good, okay? But it does not look that great, okay? I eat a lot of food that it doesn't look fabulous, but it tastes delicious. And I've had food that looked amazing and tasted like crap. Subway! Anyway, I'm done. Okay, hi. Hope you guys are doing great. I just want to, throw out some things real quick before I get to the main topic of this video, which, like I said, I don't want it to be too long. Number one is that I mentioned in one of my last videos that I was in a lot of pain, but I didn't elaborate because I went into other stuff. It wasn't intentional. I just get distracted and I start talking about this, that, this, that, and sometimes I forget to talk about the thing. So, as I mentioned, again, in a previous video, I injured myself getting groceries out of the car. I twisted my back a little bit, and that got my sciatica kicked into high gear. I have been fucked up ever since then. I mean, not like I'm completely disabled, but in a lot of pain. And my 10,000 steps a day routine, at first I was keeping to it, despite the pain, and it was really bad pain, but I was still pushing myself. I'm like, no, I'm going to still get in my steps. So I would get in, as long as I got in 10,000, I was good. Well, for the past 2 to 3 days, I have fallen short. And I felt kind of bad, but I'm like, girl, you're hurt. Get real, you're hurt. Okay, it's okay to rest when you're hurt. You're hurt. As far as about where my weight is, with clothes on, I weighed in at 293.9-ish maybe, or something like that earlier. So I'm guessing that, let me clarify, I was wearing clothes, and so if you took away my clothes, it might have taken about a pound off, so I might be 292 or something. Lowest I've been thus far is 291.7 on this journey, and that was a few days ago, and then it went up from there, even though I have been doing good with my food. And it was beyond just me being injured, because up until the last couple of days or so, I continued to walk, so I was getting steps in and stuff and eating right. So it's just my body doing its thing. And plus my period is around the corner, so that could also be a part of it. But anyway, okay, so that's that quick rant. Do I have anything else to add? I want to thank people who are coming to my channel. Thank you so much. And people who are showing me support, thank you, thank you, thank you. People who are sharing my videos, thank you. I'm very shy about sharing content or telling people to share my content like that. I'm a shy person, but which sounds funny because it's girl, you're making content, but it's I also don't say, oh, you guys need to share it or please share it or something, you know what I mean? I also don't do that because I don't know who's gonna like me and who's not gonna like me. You may think, oh, let me share this with my homegirl who's trying to lose weight or who's going through whatever you're talking about or something, and your homegirl may think, who's this bitch? I don't know. Or hopefully your homegirl likes me, but I'm just saying, so I just, but to anyone who's been sharing my stuff, thank you. It means so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome to all the new people and the old people. Thank you, welcome. Anyway, so what's going on with me? Oh, let me add this. So, as I mentioned previously, I stopped using AI, with the exception of what's already on my device. If it's not on my device, I'm not using it anymore. The reason being is because AI is having a profound effect on our environment right now. You should look that up, okay? Uh, and I'm not saying not to use AI whatsoever, but I don't think we should abuse it where we need all these data centers and where it requires our water that we drink to be, to cool these data centers down, and it's in excess just to, as people say, make AI slop and shit. So I'm not here for it. And I still enjoy funny videos from time to time that maybe someone used AI, but I really would prefer not to have that. Like I'd really no, because again, I can't drink your fucking video. Respectfully, I can't. And I still, like I said, I have some content. I've posted most of what I had at one time or another, but I will sometimes recycle it. And the reason why is because it's just like an easy, cheap way. Okay, I'm going to get to the original point of this video in a moment, but I'm someone who I would do better on YouTube than say a TikTok, because I have way too many thoughts in my head, and I'm someone who I like build up to stuff. I'm a, you know what I mean? I'm a long form chick that I'm not cut out for a TikTok or something, or for YouTube shorts for the most part. Okay, every once in a while I might have something cute for YouTube shorts, but it's very rare because that's not really my style. I'd rather tell a story and really get into my thought process and everything, whatever, right? And because of that, the easiest content for me to post is the little short AI videos that I have on my phone. So I may post those, but I haven't posted anything in maybe like 2 or so weeks. And my views went from, I want to say, close to 8,000 or something per month, which for me is amazing for me. Okay, as someone who is not heavily advertising my stuff and all that, that's pretty awesome, right? It went from that down to, I think I'm at 2,000 and something, because again, I'm not posting shorts, and most of my views, my concentrated views, were coming from shorts. And then also I'm noticing that it feels like YouTube is pushing my overall content less. But so that it's wonderful that there's new people coming to support me. I really, really appreciate that, because it feels like my stuff is being pushed less. And I'm of the opinion, and I said this in a previous video, that when I have lost a substantial amount of weight from where I am right now, like at least close to 30 pounds, maybe not quite even 30 pounds, like, I think like when I get into them 260s and all that stuff, and definitely smaller, that when people start noticing the differences, that more people are going to probably start tuning into my content. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. So, and I'll definitely start posting more before and after pictures. I have some wonderful before pictures that I cannot wait to post when I look dramatically different from where I was in those pictures. That's going to feel so good to post those. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's going to help grow my channel a lot. So I'm hoping that happens for me later this year. So God willing. On that note, see, I told you I'm not cut out for TikTok. This video is about how long it will take for people to notice that you've lost weight. This is a very common question, and I can only answer from me, okay, how long it took with me. So on this current journey, the only people in my personal life who have made comments about me losing weight are my mother, my former partner, and my bestie. Those are the only people who have, made any remarks about my weight loss at all. And I started out at around 338 to 342. But let's just go from the low end of 338. So that means I have lost over 40 pounds, you know, and those are the only 3 people who have remarked on my weight loss. And I'm not surprised about that. When you're really, really big, okay, as a 300 plus pound person, when you're really big, I mean, not anymore 300 plus pound, but starting from there, then it can take a while. Of course, your body type has something to do with it, where you tend to lose weight, how much you're around people can have something to do with it as to when you're going to get people acknowledging it and all that. But I want to delve into my previous experience when I lost the bulk of my weight back in 2015 from a weight loss journey that started in 2014 into 2015. And between that time, I lost pretty much over 100 pounds. It was not acknowledged until so my starting weight on that journey was 301.6, but that was not the heaviest I'd been that year. I know I told this story, but I'm just gonna do it one more time. So, you know, I'm going to do it more than once again, but anyway, or more than one more time. But anyway, what had happened is early 2014, I had gotten really sick, which, by the way, I'm kind of feeling a little sick right now, ironically. But anyway, I had gotten really sick in 2014 with the flu, beginning of the year, like in January or something. And I got up to go to the bathroom to pee, and I started feeling like I was going to black out. And I was thinking, I do not want to black out on the toilet. And so I get up and I rush to my bed, you know, to lay down. And I ended up crashing into the corner of the wall. When I say the corner, I mean, you know, like the triangle, you know what I mean, whatever, part of the wall. I crashed into it and smashed my teeth into it, my face, my teeth, and I collapsed on the floor. And I was in so much pain. And I cried out for my brother, whom I lived with, and he acted like he didn't hear me or whatever. And I just thought to myself, I'm laying on the floor and I'm like, I never want to be this helpless again. I'm losing this weight. And at the time I was around maybe 315. I started eating seaweed, not on a diet. I just started eating seaweed, and I ended up losing 14 pounds, 14.2 pounds approximately, without even trying to. I just, you know, from eating seaweed, I've said this before, sorry to be a broken record, I think it kickstarted my thyroid. Highly recommend someone eat, or people eat seaweed. It's delicious, and it may, you know, help you out with that, with the weight loss journey and stuff, whatever. Anyway, point is that I had this guy friend who was also extremely overweight, and we decided to lose weight together, to support each other, to be, you know, partners and stuff. And it worked really great until some drama broke us apart, okay? And so we ended up going our separate ways. Well, I ended up going off on him, and we were in our separate ways and everything, whatever, okay? But that's old news. Why am I mentioning it? When I started with him, I was 301.6. So when I officially started my weight loss journey, I was 301.6. The lowest I got down to was 209.2. Okay, cool. So from there, it was 90 something pounds, but from my largest, well, not largest, but largest that year that I knew of 2014, it was 315.8. That's why I say over 100 pounds. Anyway, okay, why I'm telling you guys this is that I had to lose, of that 90 something pounds that I lost, I had to lose 70 something pounds of it, approximately. Was it 70 something? Or close? Damn it. I don't have my other phone to use my calculator. It was definitely over 60 something. I was in the late, I went from 301.6 to the very late 220s. And I was in a Sephora store. There was a girl, I'm going to say her name, and I don't know if one of my friends on here will know who I'm talking about, but Brittany, if you remember Brittany, if you're watching this video, it's okay if you don't watch it, girl, because I know I was being long-winded about other stuff. But if you see this, it was the girl Brittany who used to work at Sephora. Anyway, point is that she looked at me one day very seriously, and she's like, "You're losing weight, or you've lost weight," or something like that. And like, it just out of the blue, like we weren't talking about it or anything. She just like looked at me like seriously and said that. And I'm thinking, yeah, like, but it meant so much to me because, and I liked her a lot, by the way. Haven't seen her in many years, but it meant so much to me because that was the first time that someone outside of my family or internet people had acknowledged my weight loss. And then later I found out that other women that work there had noticed it too, because I used to go to the Sephora all the freaking time, okay? And apparently they noticed it, but nobody had said anything until her. She was the first person to say anything. And then one thing, I'm going to say this. Okay, so in other words, I had to go from the 300s down to the 220s before I got my first public acknowledgement of my weight loss, okay? And I want to say what's funny about when you lose weight, it can take a while for people to say something. It doesn't mean that everybody's not noticing. Some people are noticing, but they wait until it's like so dramatic before they say, you know. But another thing is, oh yeah, once that first compliment comes, more will come. Trust me, more will come. Like it's just gonna be like, it's like a drop of water from the ceiling or something. You're like, oh, drop of water, and the next thing you know, you're getting rained on. Okay, it's crazy. So that's what's funny about the whole weight loss acknowledgement stuff. At least that was my experience. So yeah, I had to get down to the 220s before anybody publicly acknowledged outside of my family and my internet buddies. And my internet buddies were people in these weight loss groups that I was a part of who would see, like, I'm posting side-by-side pictures so they can clearly see the differences, and I'm obviously discussing my weight loss journey and all that stuff, so they see me losing the weight, you know. But yeah, you know, that it took that long. And as far as like where men started treating me different, which I've talked about this, I think it was pretty subtle until I got into the 240s. When I got into the 240s, that's when I was in a Costco one day, and this guy, heavyset Hispanic guy with a wife and family, starts ogling me, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, you know, he was like really hard checking me out, and it stood out so much because he was with his wife, and I'm like, sir, like, I didn't say it. I'm thinking this in my head, and it's like a part of me, I'm going to be dead honest with you, was flattered. I'm just gonna, okay, because I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. I'm just gonna say it. I'm a Libra, okay? Don't judge me. But we love our compliments. We love to feel pretty and beautiful. But at the same time, we can still acknowledge when it's inappropriate, and it was inappropriate, you know? But that's why it stood out so much, was because he was with his wife. And then it just like started like more and more, I would get compliments and stuff from men and acknowledgments from men. You know, things that I knew that people wouldn't have done for me when I was heavier, people were starting to do for me. Like, this is going to sound so silly, but they had closed this one side of an H-E-B store that I used to frequent. And I was like, oh, dang, you know, because I'm thinking, oh, I can't get through that door. And the guy opens it for me. He's like, come in here with your pretty self. And I'm like, ah, thank you. You know, another time I remember I was walking in a Kohl's store minding my business. And this guy was like, oh, I like how you walk and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? Because again, excuse my language, I was not accustomed to male attention like that. You know, that was so weird for me. So I'm going to say 240s and below, heavily 220s and below, but 240s and below is about where the male attention started to really kick in. And, you know, it started to disappear as I started gaining weight and stuff and all that, you know, in the year 2016 and stuff, whatever. Womp womp. But it was still there. But it did start to go away quite a bit compared to what it once was, because I started to feel like the prettiest girl in the world, you know, when it came to that kind of attention that I was getting and stuff. It was wild, you know. But anyway, I don't remember getting any bitchiness from girls. Other than there was a story, and I kind of mentally debated whether I should tell this story, namely because the person that the story is about is no longer with us. And it's not about her defending herself, because I'm not saying her name or anything, but I'm just going to tell you my perception. So I had mentioned about weight loss jealousy, or just, you know, jealousy period, but namely weight loss jealousy in a previous video. And after the fact, it made me think of this one, you know, online friend I had. And I regret that we never reconnected, because, you know, she ended up passing away, and I regret that we never reconnected. We had an interesting history where in the past she didn't like me, but then she ended up liking me. The guy friend that I was losing weight with, that I fell out with, it was actually over her, because as I understand it, and, you know, forgive me if I'm telling the story wrong, ma'am, I'm just telling it as I understand it. They kind of had a little thing going, and then he became interested in me, which I was not interested in him. I saw him as just a friend, and I ended up falling out with him, like kind of a girl code thing, because she was saying that he was acting funny towards her. And I'm like, oh, hell nah, not my girl. Because by that point, she and I were friends and stuff, whatever. And so, and plus, I think, if I'm being completely honest, I was already becoming disenchanted with him, you know. And so that made it easier and stuff to cut him out and everything. So I ended up falling out with him. Anyway, well, when I was losing this weight, there were people that were complimenting me. And this one guy in particular, one day, he was just going on and on about it for for a few minutes or something, saying how good I looked and how, you know, congratulations on your weight loss and all that. And I could tell that it made her so uncomfortable. And that's not the first time that that's happened, where I could tell that people complimenting me on my weight loss made someone else feel some type of way. But she's the only story I'm going to bring up right now. And I just felt like she started to be distant towards me, and that it became uncomfortable for her to be friends with me glowing up. But she wasn't as I recall it, outwardly mean to me, but I think it was triggering her, because she became, from my perspective, more distant from me. And I could tell, you know, if someone complimented me in front of her, it made her feel some type of way or something. It was just weird. And anyway, in retrospect, I'm kind of empathetic as to why she was that way. She was significantly older than me, one. Two, she was also overweight, and she didn't know I guess, how to get it under control. Like, she wasn't in a space yet where she was ready to, you know, work on her process, which I've talked about, and I've been in that place too. These are just my perceptions. Again, if I'm wrong about her, I apologize, but it's not my intention. I'm giving my perceptions, you know. But it ended up like getting in the way of that friendship. But this was someone who was an online friend, you know, not someone who I knew in my personal life and stuff. So I mean, like, you know, face to face, regular life. But yeah, so anyway, but God rest her soul. I think she had a lot of wonderful qualities, and I regret that we never made peace before she passed away. And I wish her well on the other side. I hope that she's in a good place, you know, and you know, God bless her family that she left behind and her loved ones. But you know, I debated about telling that because, you know, of course, as someone who passed away, and it's uncomfortable talking about like negative things that have to do with people who are not here anymore. But yeah. So anyway, end rant. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Bye.